All right. Well, this week, The Martian. So what is it about The Martian? What is this about?
Okay, so basically, and I'm not going to read this, I'm just going to talk about it because this is a movie I've seen. So what happens is there's a project on Mars where you have an entire crew there. Something starts going wrong with it. It's a windstorm. They've got to leave. Mark Watney, who is the guy who gets left behind, they think he's dead. They get back on the ship. They're leaving him. They feel very bad about it. Then over the course of the next however many souls, because that's the amount of times it goes around the sun, Mars does, they determine that Mark's actually alive because he's kind of a genius and he figures it all out. And now they got to figure out, do they go back and get him? Do they wait to the next mission? What's the best way to keep him alive? How to feed him? All that stuff. And it has some of the funniest laugh out loud scenes in it. Just for that situation, for a guy to be stuck on Mars trying to grow potatoes in his own poop. There's some of the funniest stuff. The whole space pirate thing is hilarious. There's a little line in the movie. Kent, there's a little line in this movie that my wife and I say to each other all the time now because of the movie, where he says, "You effing kidding me?" And then he says to her, "Well, it could be, you effing kidding me?" That line, I don't know what it is about it. I just absolutely love that scene. And the acting. It's filled with amazing actors. Everybody in that, even and I don't know his name, the Asian guy who they kept making build stuff faster is hilarious. When he's taking now the door's got to come off. No door? The roof's got to come. No roof? That is a great scene. I just love the movie from the beginning to the end. Kent?
What? You hit on the one important thing for me is that it's funny, right? If you just read this setup as a pitch, right? 2 paragraphs, you go, this is going to be a bleak examination of some guy all alone, basically going insane, right? That's where you'd expect it to be. And this goes completely the other way. I think it was in my top 10 of the year that it came out. Mm-hmm. And having looked at my top 10 from that year, mm-hmm. I might move it all the way up to number 1. But
it was my favorite movie. I thought it should have won the Academy Award.
I had Spotlight, which did win the Academy Award, as my number 1 that year. But as far as the sort of staying power of it, I think this movie is much. And it's also much more entertaining than Spotlight.
And the thing about that movie too is, well, first of all, when Spotlight ended, the movie, mm-hmm. I remember sitting there. I grew up Catholic. I'm an altar boy. I was an altar boy. I remember sitting in that theater emotionally drained when I finished watching Spotlight, thinking about what happened to so many people. Mm-hmm. So obviously didn't feel that way leaving The Martian. I felt a little better. A lot better than that. The other thing about The Martian is and of course we listened to the book on tape of the new book that guy's got coming out, the movie Hail Mary. We listened to that driving to New Orleans, and it's the same thing. Every 5 or 10 minutes, something really funny happens, which kind of takes you away from the fact that this guy's stuck this far away and he's probably going to die.
Yeah.
But they keep making, like when he falls through the roof, they both were trying to figure out how to make the rover into a rover that he can use, and he tried to jump and he falls through and they fall through. Just little things like that are just constantly funny in the movie.
And what that also did is it flips that standard sci-fi view, right? Most science fiction is kind of bleak, right? Kind of. Mm-hmm. And this makes it very human and warm and almost optimistic by the end of the picture, which is, I think, what makes it so. It makes us like it, but it's also what made it a huge hit, right?
Yep.
That together with the acting, right? And everybody talks about Matt Damon, which is understandable. This might be, you could argue this is his best performance.
Sure. Yeah. He had to basically act with himself.
Exactly. Given that he was acting by himself. But Jessica Chastain was at the peak of her form in this stretch. She'd just done that Zero Dark 30, 2 or 3 years before. Right. And she like I know that she went to NASA and met with and hung around women astronauts and engineers and to figure out how to play that part realistically.
Yeah.
And I think she's just she's as much the heart of that story as Matt Damon because of that.
Can I sell you on perhaps the greatest scene stealer in the last 10 years of movies is Michael Pena?
Oh, absolutely.
Every movie he's in, he steals multiple scenes. He's the funniest thing in Ant-Man. Every time he tells a story, you're like, oh, this is going to be great. And in this too, he's got like little tiny things that he says that you're like, every scene, he steals it.
Yeah, he's in a movie for 10 minutes and you remember every second that he's in the movie.
That he had, yeah.
No, I think you're right on that. I mean, it did. You just, it's one of those things. It's nice to have it was like an appetizer, just little things, little drops in here and there. And it just kind of helped, move things along.
Right.
A character like this, it's like, trying to center the whole thing around Kramer. Right. But that character works better when you just drop it in little spots.
Yeah.
And you get your laugh line, you turn around, and you walk out.
You know what the example of that is? Donald Glover. Glover, every second he's in that movie, whether it's trying to pour the coffee into a basket that has holes, or doing the thing with the pen, or not knowing who the head of NASA was, every second he's in that movie, he is dominating it. Donald Glover was incredible in that movie too. I love this movie.
I can tell.
You tell I love this movie.
The other thing that, to me, kind of complements everything else, because we're talking about the human interaction here, right?
Yeah.
But then you throw on top of it, this thing was technically like really well done, as in they tried to make it as realistic as they possibly could to what could happen, right?
Yeah.
They don't go out of, but they really worked with NASA and those kind of people to get, okay, this is as close as we can imagine this, right? Mm-hmm. And they did that. And then the filming was, they filmed this thing in, I believe it's Morocco, somewhere where the red
desert, right?
desert is. All these movies, but they were there for 70 days. They were there for 2 months filming that stuff. They really got it to look right. Mm-hmm. And everything. And the one thing, though, I will say that I scientifically actually ruins the movie. There's not enough wind on Mars to do the damage that triggers everything. There's
no storms that ever happen like that.
There are dust storms, but not of that magnitude because there's not enough of an atmosphere to make that happen.
Yeah. So it was just it was an improbable thing that led to him getting stuck there.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? I'm fine with that.
But now I did not read the book. Josh has said that this is one of the few things where the movie is better than the book. Was that in the book too? Do we know? Or is this something?
I do not know. I haven't read the book.
I plan on going back and listening to the book, but I haven't done it.
I've never heard of the book before the movie came out.
After we listened to that Hail Mary book, we were like, let's go back and listen to the Martian book to see. And we haven't done it yet, but the Hail Mary book, when that movie comes out, if it follows what the book did, it's going to be incredible. Because the book is, you're driving along in the car and you're hanging on every word of this book.
And isn't that coming out next year?
I think it's October of next year or September of next year.
Yeah, it is. And the interesting thing, this has very little to do with what we're talking about now, but 20 years ago, maybe a little more than that, Godard had a really hard to watch, impenetrable art movie about Jesus and Mary, only they lived in contemporary times, called Hail Mary, that was so controversial. The Catholic Church tried to get it banned, and they were going to play it at a university here, and some state senators tried to stop it and all of that. And so when I've seen that, it's like, I guess it's okay to have two movies of the same title, but boy, when it comes to streaming, you better make sure you get the right one.
Yeah, that's true. You're going to be in for a shock if you don't.
We went to the Dundee to see the movie about the joke. You know what movie I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And it's Aristocrat opposed to the Aristocats.
Cats.
They
Oh,
were
no.
people that thought they were going to see the wrong. Yes.
No.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
no.
They got it. Yes. I was like,
no.
yeah, that was not the same. Yeah.
You could not. You couldn't
couldn't
have
get
two
different.
different.
Yeah.
The only thing that I experienced that I can quasi relate to. So it was probably 10 years ago. Drew Carey was performing in Lincoln at the Stewart. And of course, if you've seen Drew Carey's act,
Yeah, he's blue.
he's very blue.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of older people in the audience. And he comes right out, and the first 3 or 4 jokes are just filthy, 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 filthy. And you start noticing these older folks are getting up and walking out and getting up and walking out. And Drew Carey said, yeah, if you came here thinking you were seeing the guy from The Price is Right, you are wrong.
Exactly.
And wrong place. It was, I was going to ask you, Kim, this is a Ridley Scott directed film.
Yep.
Ridley Scott, of course, has been behind a lot of great science fiction, a couple of them that we've seen here in the movie club. Alien, Blade Runner was his as well. Those movies were a lot darker, a lot more serious. This one, as we've talked about, more lighthearted, optimistic. Did that surprise you when you saw that it was a Ridley Scott film, that it went in this direction?
The first time it surprised me watching it. But if you look, his previous 2 movies had stiffed, basically. They were not successful. And this felt like it didn't feel like a cynical or anything like that turn.
Right.
It really felt natural for it. But yeah, it was surprising. And boy, it completely resuscitated his career to where, I mean, this movie is 10 years old now?
11, I think. 2014.
2015 is what it was nominated for.
Oh, yeah. 2014 is when it came out.
Yep.
Yeah. So, it's turned him another decade of hit making, right? So, yeah, I thought but yeah, initially when I saw it, this is one of those movies that didn't come in. Okay, I was seeing the movies about 3 weeks before they came out.
Right.
At that time, which, if you note, most of the hype for movies that aren't the giant movies usually come about 2 or 3 weeks ahead of time. So I had no idea what to expect when I went in there. And from what little I knew about the premise, it was exactly what I said before. I went, oh boy, here's 2 hours of bleak Matt Damon wandering around on Mars,
Right,
waiting to die, right? And it ended up being something different than that in a way, in a large way, and entertaining and funny, and that was completely unexpected.
Is that the key, Kent, to movies where, especially you're dealing with a singular actor, someone being stranded? Because I think back to the Tom Hanks film Castaway, where you have to have some lightheartedness, or it's going to be a slog of a story.
And it's grim. There are zillions of indie movies like that, in a way, and you just, they're good movies, but it's like, well, I don't think I'll ever want to watch that again.
Like The Room. Like The Room.
Yeah.
That
and even to some measure, The Revenant, that
was oppressive. Yeah.
Oppressive. Exactly. And this one, and so I think you actually hit right on it there. The one thing that I was going to mention, because I just ran across this accidentally when I was looking up something about this movie, is you don't think about Matt Damon as a massive box office star. His movies have done $4 billion dollars in business.
Yeah, he's been in some big ones, and that's without being in Marvel movies.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, he's never been in a comic book movie, right?
Right, not that I know of.
Yep.
But you think about it, he was in those Oceans movies.
Oceans movies.
He, the Bourne movies.
Yeah, they did a ton of movie, especially overseas. They killed overseas.
Yeah, and you just look at all the stuff he's done, and you just go, wow, from Good Will Hunting on, basically. He's just you don't. I guess I don't think of him as that, big box office star, but he really is.
Hey, Joey, so this was the first time you'd seen it?
Yes, this was the first time I saw it.
What'd you think, Joey?
I thought it was a great movie, and John kind of called back to it. It was kind of like a bit of a castaway movie from Tom Hanks. Kind of were on your own trying to survive and then work your way into getting back home. The only thing different from this movie to Tom Hanks' movie was NASA knew that Watney was still alive, so they were actually trying to get him back. Unlike in Castaway, they did not know until they found him in the ocean 4 years later. So I thought it was a great movie. I love the scenery of the movie. I thought Matt Damon did a great job. Some of the funny jokes in there. The only thing that drove him insane was the disco music.
Her disco music is great. That's hilarious.
Does anybody in popular film like disco? Unless it's,
but some of that stuff is actually good. Like Donna. Look, I like Donna Summer. Okay, I'm a Donna Summer fan. But yes, that is
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
There's a lot of good disco.
I Will Survive.
She had a lot of disco in there. It was like more like club disco.
Yeah,
like not stuff playing on the radio, which I understand. But the scene with the Vicodin, that's perfect. When he's like, "I'm out of ketchup." Somebody put some crushed Vicodin in it. I'm like, that would be me on the Moor. That's me right there. That's great. Love him. Glad you liked it, Joey.
Yeah, it's a really good movie.
Yeah,
it's fun. Even though obviously the story can be a little stressful, but it's a fun film. And you're right, Matt Damon has a way of making films more enjoyable. Yeah. For a guy who has not been in the comic book movies,
forgot
and
one.
all of that.
So he is in Ragnarok. He's actually in two of them where he's playing in that play, the fake play that's going on.
He's not a star.
No, he's not a star in it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a cameo.
Yeah, it's a cameo. Yeah.
But he just has a way of being in these films and making them better, and it worked. It really did. I really enjoyed it. This was only the second time I saw it because I saw it one other time. So I'm not like you. I haven't seen it 40 times.
Seen it 40 times.
This was my first time seeing it.
If it ever comes back in whatever they call it, and ends up back in a theater for a show, I would recommend going to see it there just for the visual part.
Yes, the visuals are really, really good.
Which are great, and they can't possibly come through like they do in a theater when you're seeing it, 2 stories high or whatever.
Yeah.